Hello. In this video, we want to find the sine and cosine for each angle using reference angles. Now, here's the thing. We know the reference angles for each one of these because we just did that in a previous video. I've already written down the reference angles for each one. So first of all, we have theta equals 120 degrees. And I'm going to go ahead and draw this real quick. All students take calculus. So if I want to know the sine of 120 degrees. Well, 120 is in quadrant 2, and in quadrant 2, sine is positive. So this would be the same thing as just the sine of 60 degrees. And the sine of 60 degrees is just, well, square root of 3 over 2. So the sine of 120 degrees is root 3 over 2. Good. As for cosine of 120 degrees, well, in quadrant 2, only sine is positive. That means that cosine has to be negative. Therefore, this would be the negative cosine of 60 degrees. And cosine of 60 degrees is what? Cosine of 60 is root 3 over 2? No. 1/2. Sorry about that. So, yes, 1/2. So negative 1/2 is the answer here. And that's for cosine of 120 degrees. Next, let's look at this for 7 pi over 6. The sine of 7 pi over 6. Well, where is 7 pi over 6? That's a full pi plus a little more, which means that we're in quadrant 3. And in quadrant 3, only tangent is positive, which means both sine and cosine need to be negative. And the reference angle, again, is pi over 6. So sine of 7 pi over 6 is negative sine of pi over 6. Sine of pi over 6 is a half, so that makes that negative a half. As for cosine of 7 pi over 6, again, that's negative cosine of pi over 6. So basically, the sine of theta is equal to either plus or minus the sine of theta prime, and cosine of theta equals plus or minus cosine of theta prime. So basically, it just depends on what theta prime is, or where theta is, as to whether you should use plus or minus when you're using your reference angle. And cosine of pi over 6 is, of course, root 3 over 2. So this gives me negative square root of 3 over 2. And there you go. That's cosine of pi over 6. Well, cosine of 7 pi over 6. Now let's do 690 degrees. The sine of 690 degrees. Well, looking at our quadrants here, 690, 360, and then all the way a little more, and then just a little bit less than 720. So we're actually in quadrant 4. And in quadrant 4, cosine, not calculus, cosine is positive, which means sine has to be negative. So it'd be negative sine of 30 degrees. And negative sine 30 degrees just gives me negative a half. And as for cosine, we have to be positive here, so it's just positive cosine of 30 degrees, which will give us root 3 over 2. All right, there you go. Now for the last one. Negative 7 pi over 4. Negative 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're in the first quadrant, which means all of them are positive. So that means that the sine of negative 7 pi over 4 is the same thing as the sine of pi over 4, which is, of course, root 2 over 2. Same thing for the cosine of negative 7 pi over 4. That gives me the cosine of pi over 4, which is root 2 over 2. Alrighty. Well, that's pretty much it for this video. I'm going to go ahead and end it here, and I will see you in the next one. Have fun.